What's going on, Felt fans? Welcome into Around the Felt. We got the Houston Texans on deck tonight, breaking down their 2025 season and predicting how far they can go with CJ Stroud. I'm your host, Colin Tong. Joining me, Reagan Loescher. As always, ready to rock?
Oh, I'm ready to rock. Let's talk some Texans football, baby.
Yeah, it's a good ball club. Should be a fun episode. Vegas giving them their respect. A 9.5 win total, highest in the division. 10-7 the last two seasons with back-to-back divisional round appearances led by CJ Stroud and DeMeco Ryans. Very rare for a quarterback to start his first 2 years in the league and make it to the divisional round, let alone also a head coach. So tip the cap to DeMeco Ryans. Some key additions here: Christian Kirk in the slot, Cam Robinson, new left tackle, CJ Gardner-Johnson, Lincoln Tomlinson, Sheldon Rankins, EJ Speed, and Trent Brown. Really retooling that offensive line after Stroud was running for his life last year. Some losses: Laremy Tunsil, the big one, the best player on that offensive line for the past several years, traded to the Commanders. Stephon Diggs, Kenyon Green, Kendrick Green, and Shaq Mason. The Texans projected the 8th most difficult schedule, but I think it's clear to me they're the most talented team in this division. Reagan, what do you have them doing in 25?
I have them going 7-10.
Wow.
Missing the playoffs. I am calling for a huge down year on the Texans, and DeMeco Ryans might get fired. Probably not, because they were 10-7, the past 2 years with them, but it'll definitely heat up his seat. But I have them taking a major step back. I know you highlighted all those offensive additions on the line, but, guys like Lincoln Tomlinson, not a good offensive lineman, not good at all. So that doesn't move the needle for me. Cam Robinson, while he's good, he's still a downgrade from Laremy Tunsil. And I think this offensive line still is going to struggle a lot. You already see Joe Mixon, we don't know what his health looks like. They may be without him for an extended period of time. And Nick Chubb is not good. He's not good anymore. Or I shouldn't say that. It's not that he's not good. It's just injuries have derailed his career. So, you're putting a lot of faith in Nico Collins, who's good. But outside of him, Christian Kirk, will he come back to form? I mean, he hasn't been able to stay healthy the past few years. They've drafted 2 rookie wide receivers. They're going to be a tank for a while. So, obviously, defensively, they got some guys. But, dude, this schedule is tough. Really tough to me. And I don't know if they're going to be able to beat a lot of these good teams, because we've seen them feast on the bad teams. And, they beat the Chargers in Wild Card Weekend, and they looked good against the Chiefs. But I don't know, man. I just can't see it. I mean, it's a rough schedule to start, and I'm projecting the Jaguars to be way better this year. I mean, it's going out to play the Rams, and they're hosting the Bucs and the Jags again. The Ravens, they got the Bills, they got the Broncos. The Chiefs, Colts twice, those division games are going to be tight. Even Tennessee, while we don't think they're going to be good, and I think they're going to be one of the worst teams in the league, they could easily split that. I mean, the division games are always tight, very tight. So I got them going 7-10. I'm sure Texans fans aren't going to love that, but I'm not buying into it. I'm not seeing CJ Stroud, get back to that rookie year form. I think, a lot of people figured him out.
Wow, that's crazy. Texans fans, hit the comments. Let this guy know why he is way off. That's crazy. I got the Texans at 10-7 for a 3rd year in a row.
Chalk.
Barely inching out the Jaguars to win the division. I got the Jags at 9-8, right behind them. I think they're going to be much improved, and I think that's the only team in this division that can threaten the Texans for the crown in 2025. I mean, for me, I look at this division as a whole, and CJ Stroud is far and away the best quarterback, has performed the best. I mean, Trevor Lawrence should be that guy based on where he was drafted, but we just haven't seen it, right? So Stroud is the best quarterback. But Reagan, you hit the nail on the head with the offensive line. You could argue this is the worst offensive line in the league right now. You genuinely could. Cam Robinson was 92nd in pressure rate allowed last year. Tomlinson was 49th in PFF grade amongst guards.
He's terrible.
And
dude,
Ed Ingram,
cut 1 year into he got cut instantly with the Jets, and they gave him a big contract to come over, and they cut him after 1 year.
Yeah, and Ed Ingram, who they added at guard too, 87th in pressure rate allowed. And they're banking on a lot of young guys stepping up, and it's some draft picks in previous years. It's very spotty, and Stroud's not super mobile. So that is clearly the biggest concern for this team. However, I still have to believe in Stroud over the other quarterbacks this division, and I think without a doubt, the Texans have the best defense in this division right now. Stroud absolutely took a step back in his sophomore year. Took a lot more sacks, had a much higher interception rate. Remember, he started his career like not throwing a pick, and it was insanely impressive. But his INTs went up a lot last year. His completion rate was down to 63%, and he had 20 touchdowns to 12 picks.
Well, and dude, like last year alone, they were 1-5 in the regular season against playoff teams. So they had a pretty cupcake schedule. They went 10-7, but 5 of your 7 losses against playoff teams. Like, yeah, they went out and beat the Chargers in the playoffs, and they looked better against the Chiefs in the playoffs than they did in the regular season. But let's not forget, I mean, they got fucking boat raced on Christmas against the Ravens. Like a lot of these teams killed them. They beat Buffalo early. Like, I'm not going to take that away from them. That's a huge win. But 1-5 against playoff teams in the regular season, like this team just feasts on it. It's a much tougher schedule this year. So, and I'm thinking they're not going to have the same luck with some of these bad teams. I mean, they even lost to Tennessee. Like I was saying, like the Titans were the worst team in the league last year, and they split that series.
No, 100%, man. Like, there's definitely red flags here with this team. And with Stroud taking that step back, I will acknowledge he only had 66 pass attempts with Nico, Diggs, and Tank all on the field together. But now there is no, like, I'm expecting Tank to be out for the season, and there is no Diggs. Nico is that guy. If you haven't checked out our 15 NFL future bets you got to take, check it out. We got some phenomenal bets in there, some great value. One of mine being Nico Collins to lead the league in receiving yards this year. It's definitely ballsy because he has to play a full 17 for it to happen, and we just haven't seen him do that. He'll miss a couple games here and there, nothing crazy, but usually it's like a hammy or something, so he needs to be healthy. But when Nico's out there, he can go for 150 any week with Stroud. And when you look what's around him right now, like, yeah, I think Christian Kirk's a solid player, but he fell out of favor in Jacksonville after Lawrence loved him a couple years ago. And then you got the 2 rookies from Iowa State, Jaden Higgins and Jalen Noel, who Noel is a slot guy. I mean, he's got the tools. He had 4.39 speed, 98 percentile explosion score, but you got Kirk in the slot, right? So I don't know how big of an impact he's going to have as a rookie. Higgins, though, I'm actually very high on him after diving in. He's 6'4". He's got long-ass arms, similar to Nico. He was a second-rated wide receiver by Pro Football Focus last year in all of college, and then he ran a 4.47 at 6'4". So the tools are there for him. He's going to be a major piece for this offense if they're going to get back to the playoffs and get back to the divisional round and hopefully go farther this year. Then the running back room, I agree with Mixon. Mixon in fantasy is different from Mixon in real life. Mixon is good in fantasy because of the volume and that they could score touchdowns.
Yeah, but we don't even know his health right now. It's very murky right now with that nagging foot injury. Also, I want to just put this in there real quick. 7 of their 10 wins last year were decided by 1 score. So it's also like they're not even blowing these teams out. Like they were going toe-to-toe, barely squeaking by the Jaguars and Titans in the wins, like in the Colts. So they played in a terrible division, and they were going in 1-score games. So I expect that to change too. Like I think their division's a lot better this year as well.
Yeah, I think the division's better too. And, 1-score games like that, it's definitely something that's hard to replicate year over year, squeaking those out. Because sometimes it's luck, a missed field goal here and there that you can't bank on, or a fumble, the ball rolls your way, right? Like a lot of those are luck. Now, part of it's also being a greatly coached team and having a quarterback that can win those situations, like Kansas City. Like they went 11-1 last year, right? Like that's going to be tough for them to replicate, but it's also a luck factor too. So I agree with you there as well. I'm really bullish on this team because of the defense, though. Their front is damn good, and their secondary is amongst the best in the league. They were elite last year, created a ton of turnovers. They were 4th in sacks. Danielle Hunter with 12, Will Anderson with 11 in only 14 games. So Will Anderson Jr. is living up to that draft type that he had, and he's got to he's got to develop into one of those premier guys, which he certainly has the tool to be. And their linebacker unit's really solid. Azeez Al-Shaair, Henry To'oTo'o from Alabama's coming into his own. I like EJ Speed they got from the Colts. They got some solid backers. The secondary, Stingley finally was healthy, and he lived up to when you drafted him. 3rd overall, right ahead of Sauce. It took him a couple years behind Sauce to get that All-Pro nod, but he got it. Kamari Lassiter, who they took out of Georgia, was a dog. And Jalen Petrie was a stud in the slot corner, moving from safety, playing more in that role. So they were 2nd in the league in INTs. So I believe in the secondary. I believe in the front. I believe in DeMeco Ryans' defense. Really, what it comes down to is if the offensive line's as bad as we think, Reagan, 7-10 could be a thing.
I mean, he was sacked 52 times last year. 52 times.
And it might get worse. It might get worse. You know
Plus
what I mean?
another 11 in the playoffs. So
yeah,
in 19 games, he was sacked 63 times. I mean, that's absurd. That is absurd. And it might, like you said, it could get worse. You know, he was essentially getting sacked 4 times every game. It's insane.
Now, the dark horse for this offensive line is Ursry, who they took in the second round out of Minnesota. I don't think he should have gone that late. Dude could be a steal. He was a stud at Minnesota against some big time pass rushers in the Big Ten. He's not slated to start right now. I don't know how he's performing in camp, to be fully candid, but he could be a dark horse to eventually take over the left tackle spot, maybe the right tackle spot at some point this year, because I don't think it's going to be a good offensive line at all.
Yeah, I mean, it's not. And the fact that Titus Howard's getting shifted in too, because they drafted him to be a tackle as well, and he really hasn't panned out at all.
I know, man. So definitely some red flags here with Houston, but at the end of the day, best defense, best quarterback in this division, so I had to give him the nod to get it done again, but the gap has certainly tightened.
Is that like because you're hyping up the Titans?
No, tightened as in like it's their gap.
No,
I'm not referring to the Titans as the reason for that though. I'm referring to
that's what I was saying. Is that your bold take?
No, I'm referring to the Jacksonville Jaguars being right up their ass, because I think with Liam Cohen they're going to be much improved. But still, I got to give the nod to Houston. I think the best team in this division. All right, who's your MVP for the Houston Texans?
Yeah, it's for me, it's Will Anderson. I mean, dude's just a stud on that defense, and I think he's just going to have an even better season. I mean, already he's proving like he's one of the best edge rushers in the league, and I think he has the capability to be a Defensive Player of the Year candidate like this year. I mean, going from 7 sacks in his rookie year to 11 last year, like this guy could easily be pushing 15 sacks this year and have his name, at the forefront of the Defensive Player of the Year award. I'd love to see this guy get on one of the All-Pro teams this year.
Yeah, great call, man. He's my depoy, of course. Like I went with him over Stingley. And Stingley was an All-Pro last year, but I think Will Anderson's going to have the best year on that defense, and he might be the best player on this team in 2025. Outside of this guy, my MVP is Nico Collins. Look, you could also argue Stroud. I get it, right? You could always go with the quarterback. But for me, if Stroud's going out there with Higgins, Noel, and
Kirk,
I don't see this offense scoring a lot of points with that offensive line and how inefficient Mixon is. Nico Collins is getting drafted in the first round in fantasy for a reason. Now it's fantasy football, I get it, but like that just shows you how many targets he's going to get and how important he's going to be for this offense, and he can erupt at any week. They need him. I mean, I think he can go for 1,700 yards if he stays fully healthy. I think that's very much within reach. I think he can average 100 a game. So without Nico Collins, though, this offense might be in trouble.
Oh, I mean, yeah, they would be in trouble, dude. We saw last year when he was gone. It was pretty evident. It was night and day when he was and wasn't on the field. I mean, granted, Diggs and Dell missed a lot of time as well, but it's night and day without him.
100%. What's your X factor?
Yeah, I mean, it's pretty simple. I mean, it's the offensive line. If they can try to put together a good unit, this is a team that not only should win the division, but also have a chance to be, fighting for one of those top seeds in the AFC. Maybe they're not playing in wild card weekend. Maybe they go out and get the 1 seed. I mean, we talked about how good the defense is, but the offense is such a question mark, and especially the offensive line. So it'd be nice to see them in an AFC championship game if they do figure it out with all these new additions.
Yeah, I'm right there with you. That was my X factor too. Like, I don't love the tackle duo Cam Robinson and Trent Brown. So Ursry, be that guy. Take over one of those jobs, because they need some young blood. They need someone to step up. And, there's a reason that those guys are getting passed around. And, the inside of the offensive line too. You got a couple guys that they took in the draft the past couple of years that are now stepping into starting roles that weren't first-round picks. So, hey, can they develop those guys? Because if they're that confident in the young bucks they have in-house, and they're like, these guys might be better than what we had last year, the vets, and they're ready to take over, maybe we're underestimating this offensive line. But that's why they are the X factor, right? Like, that is literally why they are the X factor. Who's your rookie of the year for the Houston Texans?
Yeah, I mean, there's a few where this one was tough for me, because there's a few ways you can go. I was going back and forth because, we don't fully know what the wide receiver landscape's going to look like for this team. I mean, obviously you take Higgins and obviously you take Noel in the second and third round. You talked about Ursry and how he could have an impact. And on the defensive side of the ball, it doesn't really look like anyone's going to play
Yeah, I agree.
or be of significance. So it's kind of looking at those three. I'm going to go with Jaden Higgins, because it just sounds like he's going to have the bigger impact. Kirk's, like you said, in front of Noel right now in the slot, and Tank Dell's going to miss a lot of time. So it sounds like Higgins is going to be the number 2, or even if Kirk is the number 2 to start, like Higgins, I think at this point in his career is better. And we really don't know what version of Christian Kirk we're going to get anyway. Like, I think Kirk could be good still, but he's just been injured the past 2 years. But it's hard to sit here and act like he's going to go back to that, dominance he had in his first year in Jacksonville.
I agree with you yet again, sir.
I mean,
I'm going with Higgins. I mean, just his 6'4" frame, he's going to be an outside guy, right? So when you're going to run 2 wide receiver sets, in my mind, it's going to be Nico and Higgins. They're also both big body, 6'4", so they're going to help in the run game a lot more than a Christian Kirk would, right? So Higgins, I mentioned earlier, 6'4", ran a 4.47. PFF loved him last year, 87th percentile, reach, arm length, all things you love. And Nico has thrived with Stroud, very similar metrics. So I think Stroud's going to like Higgins a lot. And I think he's going to be the second most targeted guy on this team.
Yeah. I mean, I'm still not ruling out Schultz. I mean, he's still a very good tight end for them. And, I believe they extended him in the offseason, or that was 2 years ago. But
yeah, Schultz
they
is
like
solid.
him a lot.
Why is he going so late in fantasy drafts? I picked him up in a lot of best balls.
Just so many weapons in this offense, and obviously he was more dominant in Dallas. But I would say the big thing is just the fact that there's so many other guys here.
But he's like tight end 25, 26. And I'm like, okay, I'll gladly take that as my tight end 2 or 3 in best ball.
I mean, yeah, he's going to get all, he's getting all the snaps. So, because I guess last year he kind of took a step back. I mean, he had 53 catches for 532 yards and 2 touchdowns. So it's not great, but, he's on the field a ton. Yeah, but like with Dallas, like his best season with Dallas, he had 78 catches, 800 yards, and 8 touchdowns. So I think the touchdowns being so low might be why.
Yeah, that makes sense. Depoy, we both harped on it. Will Anderson Jr., he's a dog. Fantasy
you can
football.
Obviously go Stingley as well.
You can go Stingley. You can make the argument, not doubting the all-pro caliber corner. Fantasy football, who are you targeting here?
I was also just going to say, I mean, obviously you can't slouch at Daniel Hunter either, and Alshire in the middle. I mean, they got a good defense, man.
They do.
Even Sheldon Rankins is like a huge ad for them in the run game. They actually have 2 ex-Jets at their D tackles right now, so I'd love to see that between Rankins and Fadukasi. And last year that was the biggest issue, was the Jets had no interior guys that could stop the run, and these guys are both great at that.
There you go. All right, fantasy football, Reagan. Who are you targeting on this offense?
Yeah, I mean, Schultz, like we just talked about, I think, in best ball, he's a great value. I mean, even if streaming him is fine. I mean, Nico, I'm personally staying away from at his ADP right now. I don't trust him enough to stay healthy all 17. So I'm staying away, but obviously I'm not going to fault you for going for him. He's going to be a beast. I just like other options there. Jaden Higgins, I definitely think is worth a dart throw. Christian Kirk as well is worth a dart throw because they're going so late in drafts. Mixon, Chubb, I really don't want any of that. I mean, I've been grabbing Chubb late. And then Woody Marks is a guy I was a lot more bullish on prior to them bringing in Chubb. But Chubb also may be there because of the fact that Joe Mixon's injury is a lot bigger. I mean, I guess Dameon Pierce might be a cut candidate at this point because you don't draft Woody Marks in the 4th round and not have some sort of role, and I liked him a lot at a USC, so I've been stashing him in a lot of dynasty leagues, but I would love to see him get some run, and I've taken him in a couple best ball leagues late just in case, like, Chubb and Mixon injuries are nagging him and Pierce is off the roster. Like, you could see, down the stretch, week 16, 17, like Woody Marks is getting a solid role here.
Yeah, I'm going Higgins here. I think he's a good pick in best ball. I think he's a good pick in redraft leagues where his ADP is, because if Nico were to miss time, like, Higgins might get 10 targets a game. You know what I mean? So I'm going Higgins. I've taken Mixon in a couple best balls where I go wide receiver heavy early, but he's my RB 3 or 4 just because of pure volume at that point. And I agree with you. I don't think they're going to roster 4 backs because Mixon just was such a workhorse last year, although very inefficient. I mean, just to give you some stats, out of 35 backs, he was 27th in yards per carry, 34th in success rate, and last in explosiveness. Not great. Had 12 touchdowns in 14 games, though. So the volume's there. Fine as my RB3 or 4, not as my 2. And that's if you go wide receiver heavy. I love Nico Collins. I got him in round 2 and a couple best balls, and I think that's good value. But I agree with you. I wouldn't take him at 7 or 8 per se. And Stroud, I think, is fine as if you wait on quarterback as a late guy. But I would also pair him with another quarterback as well.
Well, also, I was saying like Damian Pierce could get cut, but there's not a guarantee that Nick Chubb doesn't get cut. I mean, only gave him a one year, $2.5 million deal, so he could easily get cut as well. But I really do think Joe Mixon, I mean, he's already on the pup, but I think he might miss a significant chunk. I've been a little nervous about it. It does seem like a value at this point, but it also I could see there being a good chance where he misses the first 6 weeks, and you're like, fuck.
Yeah, that could really bite you in the ass, especially in redraft. Best ball, like you might be able to, hold it down for a little bit, but yeah, that could be a problem. So that's why if he's your RB2, you're in deep trouble.
For sure.
All right, Texans fans, hit our comments. Let us know why I am absolutely right about the Texans win the division again, and Reagan's absolutely wrong about a 7-10 season and potentially DeMeco Ryans on the hot seat. Hey, it could happen if Stroud takes another step back.
Bro, I think it might. They definitely ain't going to agree with me. I doubt there's many Texan fans that are going to be in the comments being like, bro, you're kind of right. Doubt it. Probably going to get a lot of flack, and that's okay. I'm ready for it, man. I'm ready for it. It's all right. I'll be ready. Okay?